Hello guys, welcome to Friendsintech Automation YouTube tutorials, and in this video we want to talk about how you can create your first project in TIA Portal. How can you create your first project in TIA Portal? Now, in our previous video I explained different, or basically the hierarchy of automation, where we say that automation, you must have sensors, actuators, and you must have controller, then HMI, and communication networks and supervisory system. I would say that level one of automation, this is field devices, which include sensors and actuators. Then level two, we say that is control level, where you have PLCs, you have DCS. Then level three, we say that level three is supervisory level, where you find SCADA systems. This can be WinCC Explorer, this can be VT SCADA, can be ignition from inductive automation, it can be Wonderware Indosoft. Then level number four is where you find manufacturing level or production level. This is where you work with MES systems, that's manufacturing execution systems. Then level number five, we have enterprise level or business level. That's where you'll work with ERP systems such as SAP, Odoo. Then the last level, we have cloud. Okay, you work with Amazon Web Services and other uh, hosting services. Now, we want to go to level number two, that is controller, and that is PLC. So we want to learn how to program PLC. So PLC is a controller. It's an industrial computer. Okay, it's an industrial computer. That is PLC. So just a minute here, and I will just delete this here. Okay, that's it. So this is TIA Portal. I'm using TIA Portal V20. Again, in our last video, I showed you how to download and install TIA Portal V20. Now, in today's video, we want to create our first project in TIA Portal. So TIA Portal is a totally integrated environment or automation. It's an IDE for programming Siemens PLCs, for programming Siemens drive, and programming or configuring Siemens PC systems and HMIs. So how do you create your first project in TIA Portal? So if you open your TIA, just double click on TIA icon that is on your desktop and click create new project. That is create new project. So let's give it a name, and let's just call it YouTube tutorial. So the name of our project here will be YouTube tutorial. That's it, and just hit create. So you can see my version is V20. The version of my TI portal is V20. So we are just creating a new project here. I just give it time. This is TI. TI is a very sophisticated software. So just give it time to create new project. Now, this is what you'll have. This is the project tree. Okay, this is the project tree. So the first thing, you need to configure a device. Then after configuring a device, you need to write PLC program. Then maybe you can configure technology objects such as PID and configure an HMI screen. So we want to start by configure a device. So remember, we said that TI can be used to program PLC, Siemens PLCs, Siemens drives, as Siemens PC systems, and HMIs. So to configure device is basically adding either controller, a drive, or a HMI or PC system. So just double click on configure device. Right now you don't have any device configured in your project, so you have to click on add new device. All right, add new device. So you can see we have controllers, we have HMIs, and we have PC systems. Now we want to add controller. All right, we want to add controller. And let's start with the basic. Because Siemens controllers, we have step 7, 200, 314, 300, 400, 1200, and 1500. But you can add any. But I want to add step 7, 400. So I'll just go to schematic step 7, 400. Then I'll select CPU. Now, let me clarify something here. If you have a hardware, the CPU that you have that you're about to select here must match with your hardware. That's a must. So if I select this one here, CPU 414-3 PNDP, that means that my hardware is 414-3 PNDP. Now, what is PN? What is DP? So PN stands for process network, basically Profinet. Okay. So it means that this hardware or this CPU has an Ethernet interface. Then DP stands for decentralized or decentralized process, okay, or distributed process. Basically Profibus. So it means that your PLC must have MPI interface or RS-232 or 485 interface, okay. Now select this here. So if you open this folder, you have these part numbers, or basically the firmware number or the article number, okay. So again, this must match with the hardware. So if I select this here, now you can read the information here. The work memory is 1.4 MB code and 1.4 MB data. Now, something important here, look at the communication interface. So we have one DP stroke MPI. So you can use MPI or Profibus. Then we have one port for Profinet and one slot for IF modules. All right. So that's why I'm working with PN-3P. CPU 414-3 PN/DP. Why? Because I can connect Profibus or Profinet to that. If you work with this one here, CPU 414-3 DP, that means that you can only work with MPI stroke Profibus. And again, you have to select the firmware. So you have to select the version of firmware. This again must match with the version of your hardware, okay? If it is 5.5, 5.3, you have to select here 5.2. So let's just go with the latest firmware version, 5.3. Then add. That's it. So that's how you can add controller to your project. All right. Of course, just give it a minute. All right, now you have this here. So you see this is what's called a rack. It's called a rack, and as you can see, it contains 18 slots. So slot number 1, slot number 2, slot number 4, all the way to slot number 18. Now, slot number 1 is always reserved for power supply unit, always. So the only thing you can add to this slot 1 here is power supply. So go to your hardware catalog here, then go to power supply. Then let's just work with standard, and I'll work with either 10 amps or 4 amps. Again, this here must match with the part number of your hardware. All right, so select this one here, then just drag it to this slot here. That's it. So we have added power supply. So that is the power supply. Let me just try to zoom it out here. That's it. So this is the power supply. So again, if you check out these modules here, we have internal fault, we have bus fault, then system faults. So bus faults and bus system faults. Okay, so these are just indications for faults. Then of course we have run, an indication for run, and indication for stop. That's it. Now, something very important, you need to understand PLC architecture. You need to understand PLC architecture. So PLC architecture, if I can just give me a minute here. So this is PLC architecture, just simple like this. So this is the architecture of PLC. So of course PLC, you must have central processing unit. Then you must have power supply, have output, and you must have input module. So again, in my next video, I'll be explaining input and output module, because you have to understand input and output modules thoroughly, because those are where you will connect your sensors. So this is the architecture of PLC. So you have CPU, you have input module, you have output module, and the power supply. So here we have added power supply unit, and we have the CPU here. Now we can add input cards and output cards, and maybe communication cards. So let's go to hardware catalog, and let's go to DI. So this is digital inputs, and let's just add 32 by 24. Just drag it here. That's it. So that is the first digital input. And it's a 24 volts digital input. 24 volts digital input. Okay. Again, you can add another one. That's it. Again, I can add another one. But at the same time, it's not a must that I add 24. I can add to 30 as well, or 120. So one is a digital input, 24 volts DC. Then I want to add another one, digital input, but 120 stroke 230 AC voltage. So I can add this here as well. I can add this here as well. But now, a disclaimer, something very important here. So with DI 24 volts, that means that the sensors that you connect to this digital input card must be 24 volt sensors. And the sensors that you will connect to this 120 stroke 230 AC digital input card must be 120 stroke 230 volts. Maybe you want just to connect push buttons. That is acceptable, because push buttons can accept either 24 or 120 or 230. That's it. Then after having digital input, you need digital output as well. So we can add for 24 volts. That's the first one. And we can add another one here. So that is 24 volts. Then we can add 2 for 120 stroke 230 VAC. Perfect. That's good. So after having digital outputs, we need analog inputs. Now analog inputs, I will add one for 16-bit, then another for 14-bit. That's why you need to understand these input cards. So our next video will be explaining what's the meaning of 14-bit, what's the meaning of 16-bit analog input cards, because it's very important depending on your application, okay, or depending on your process. You just don't select any. During hardware selection, you have to keenly understand your process or your project. So that will determine the type of analog input that you'll add here. Is it a 16-bit? Is it a 13-bit? Is it 8-channel? Is it 16-channel? So the first thing, I'll just add 8-channel 14-bit analog input card. Then I will add the general purpose analog input, 8 channel, 16 bit. That's it. Then I can add now analog output, and I'll just go with this one here because I see this is the only that I have here. That's it, a 13 bit, and that's it. Then I need to add communication module like CP443 or something. This is now communication module. So I'll select one for Profinet stroke Ethernet 414. Then I can just go with this here. That's it. Normally you can decide to add FM module as well. That is function module. Maybe for these are just closed loop control. Let's add one for closed loop control. FM445, okay? You can just place there. And that's it. It cannot fit there. It's not compatible with these hardware types. Okay. It's not compatible with these hardware types. Sorry about that. Maybe one for positioning. I don't know if it will work. No, it seems FMs are not compatible with this. Okay, fine. Then let's just close it with that. Perfect. So that is how you can add or how you can configure your hardware in TIA Portal. So this is your first project. Now the next step is to create your first program. So in our next video, we'll try to explain how you can create your first program in TIA Portal. So the first thing, you must have this hardware setup. Now this is PLC, okay? This is a complete PLC because you have power supply, you have the CPU, you have the digital, you have the IO's cards or IO units, then you have the communication card as well, CP443. So you can link your system with external devices such as drives and other stuff. So thank you for watching this video. Kindly subscribe to our channel. This is a new channel. The official channel Friendsintech Automation was hacked. So this is a new channel. So kindly subscribe and share this video.